Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back in our Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Taking a look at another figure character from Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is Reva, the third sister, one of the main characters of the series, and one of the main new characters of the series anyways. And yeah, I know a lot of people weren't a fan of this character for whatever reasons may be. Some are a bit illogical, others, I understand the complaints, I suppose. I didn't mind the character, honestly. I don't think she's like the best character in the world or whatever, and her story kind of took a weird turn towards the end of the series that I thought was kind of a bit unnecessary, but I thought she was a fine character, and I'm always going to be a fan of getting Inquisitor figures, Darksiders for the shelf, so I definitely wanted to get this one. And she doesn't disappoint. It's a really good figure. I'll say it. It's a really good figure. Doesn't really matter. Whatever your opinions are on the character, it's a good figure. But anyways, we will get right into it and take a closer look here. First, taking a look at the head sculpt and the face print, which I think looks really good here. The sculpt is really nice, especially the hair sculpt I think looks really great. And I think the face print is also really well done. I think it looks pretty much like the actress. Moses Ingram, I believe is her name. I think it looks a lot like her. I think they did a really good job. My only issue is that, like most Star Wars Black Series figures with face printing, her face does come off as kind of glossy. You can probably tell in the video here. You can hit that with a clear coat, and I might consider doing that at some point. It's not as bad as some other figures I've seen, but it is kind of annoying, especially for like toy photography. It's annoying that the face is so glossy. So that is something to consider. But otherwise, I think it looks really good. And that's saying something, because this figure recently got a vintage collection figure as well. I'll do a comparison with those. And I've been finding lately some of the vintage collection figures have had better face printing heads than the 6-inch figures have had. But in this case, I can say I do think that the 6-inch one here is better than the 3¼ inch one in terms of the face print. The rest of the figure I think is sculpted really well. She's got her black armor, and there's not a lot of paint apps because she's pretty much wearing black exclusively. But I think it looks good. You do have these little silver details painted, and then the belt is painted fairly well. The red there is kind of messy, but it looks good. This little belt skirt thingy is a separate piece. On the shoulder there, you do have the Imperial logo, only on one side though. And these shoulder pads are kind of like the Stormtrooper shoulder pads, where they got that ring that's sandwiched between the peg and then the hole for the peg for the joint so that they'll move with the arm. So I appreciate the engineering as always. She does have a soft goods cape, which, is good. The cape's made of a nice material, doesn't feel too cheap and like it's going to fall apart or anything like that. It does have kind of a cut in it, and it flows fairly well on the figure. And you've got some grays for the inner parts of the suit, and then the black on the outside. And she's got wearing gauntlets, which look pretty nice, but fairly simple. And the legs, I think, are sculpted well. You got the little subtle ribbing sculpted on there. And just the black. And you got the texture, or the sculpted detail like wrinkles in the cloth, which is kind of cool. And then the boots are sculpted pretty nicely. The texture detail to simulate leather, I think, looks really nice. And yeah, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. It's not the most exciting design of figure in terms of color and sculpted detail and all that. It is effective at what it's trying to accomplish. It looks like Reva from the show. There's not a whole lot else to talk about there. I do find the cape can be a little finicky to get to sit right, so you might have to mess with that a bit when you're trying to get her displayed on the shelf, but once you get it going, it looks pretty good. In terms of articulation, she's got all the standard Black Series articulation you'd expect. You got the dumbbell joint in the neck and at the bottom of the neck, which actually moves quite well. She looks up a lot, looks down just a bit, nothing too crazy there. Rotation, pretty good pivot. You do have ball hinges at the shoulders, move out a fair amount. Rotate, pretty good. These little shoulder things do get in the way a little bit, but not too bad. There is a butterfly joint there, but you don't get much movement. Single hinge in the elbow, which move pretty far in, so that's good. And then swivels at the wrists with a hinge going up and down for lightsaber posing, which I really like, and both wrists do the up and down hinge, which is good. That's what I like to see. A joint at the torso, which does rotate. You can kind of get it to go back a little bit, not really. You can kind of get the crunch a little bit, but not really. And you can get the pivot a little bit, but not by much, so it's pretty much only good for rotation. Your standard ball joints in the hips, which move that far. They don't go any further. That's not bad. And then you get the kick up, which is actually pretty good. Swivels at the thigh. single hinge at the knee, which moves about 90, and then hinges at the angles go up a okay amount, down pretty good, and then rotation. So standard Black Series articulation, you're going to get most of the poses you want out of this figure. So that's pretty good. Cape's all folded up again. In terms of accessories, it comes with a decent amount of stuff. You do get her lightsaber, which interestingly they did just the half ring for the sculpt. They didn't go the full ring, which I actually appreciate. I don't think we've gotten an Inquisitor figure yet that's just had the half ring, so I actually like this a lot. The hilt is sculpted and painted really nicely with black and silver. You got the red blades. The blades are a nice red color. I like that a lot. She holds the lightsaber good, and you can have, both blades attached or just one if you want her double bladed or single bladed. The option's up to you. I think that looks good. You can also take the blade. Oopsie. Get her standing here. You can also take the blades out. I'm going to do this off camera because it's just way easier. And then you can maybe see there's actually a little peg there. And there's a hole in her belt. And so you can actually plug that on her belt, which is pretty cool. Now you do have to kind of have it attached to its side. If you try to do like this straight, I guess you can still do it straight, honestly. I was going to say it warps the lightsaber, but I guess it doesn't really. So yeah, okay, it kind of popped off. If you want it to stay on securely, you kind of have to peg it in at an angle because then the hip gets in the way. But, you can put it straight if you want. So that's cool. You also get her lightsabers when they are split in two pieces. So that's cool. Again, sculpted and painted really nicely. The nice red blades again. And you can get her too. You can hold them if you want. You can have her dual wield, although she never did this in the show, but you can have her dual wield. Or you could give them to a Darth Vader figure if you want. I'm not getting the Obi-Wan Kenobi Black Series Darth Vader. Unlike the vintage collection, that was a completely new mold. The Black Series one is just a retool or a repaint retool of like the Empire / A New Hope Vader or something like that. It's not new enough. They're different enough for me to warrant that purchase. But yeah, so I think last to do is just some comparisons real quick. So here she is next to the Walmart exclusive Purge Trooper. You can see she's a bit shorter, a bit smaller than the Purge Trooper, but the female characters and figures tend to be a bit smaller. Here she is with the fellow rival Inquisitor, I guess. Fifth brother. I think they scale all right. I do think, as I explained in my previous video of review of this guy, I think he should have been bigger, a casted character, casted actor. And then here she is with the first Inquisitor we got in Black Series, the second sister, and I think they look pretty cool together. And then here she is with the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, which I'm assuming is probably pretty similar to the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader. I think that scale's good. She's definitely significantly shorter than him, as it should be. And then lastly, with the 3 3/4 inch figure, there they are. As you can see, the 3 3/4 inch figure actually has the full ring hilt. And then if we get in close to the head sculpts, I'm not doing the bestest ever job of showcasing this, but get out of the way. Like I said, I think the 3 1/4 inch one's still really good, but I definitely think the Black Series one looks a bit better. One thing that's weird about the Black Series one is her hair is such a light black, it almost looks gray. I don't like that too much. The hair on the Black Series one also looks a lot better in my opinion. So yeah, there's that. So overall, I do think this is a really good figure. If you're collecting the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff, you're collecting the different Inquisitors or Darksiders for your shelf, then I would highly recommend picking it up. It's a really great figure. Even if you're not super attached to the character, I think it's a really great figure. If you really don't like the character, or you're not collecting the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff, then it's an easy pass, of course. But yeah, I really personally like it, so if you're interested, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.